Welcome to a journey of extraordinary resilience and triumph. Today, we delve into the remarkable tales of organ transplant recipients who defied the odds, shattered limitations, and embraced life with an unwavering determination. From the first tentative steps to scaling towering peaks, from crossing finish lines to witnessing life's most precious moments, join us as we celebrate the undeniable spirit of those whose lives have been transformed by the gift of organ donation. Get ready to be inspired, moved, and uplifted as we shine a spotlight on the incredible accomplishments that organ transplant recipients have achieved, proving that with courage and perseverance, anything is possible. Well, there you saw it in the intro. I'm very excited about today's program as we're going to do our best to share probably hundreds of your biggest accomplishments post-transplant. Now, with that being said, the way I was able to kind of gather these things, I actually posted over in my very favorite Facebook group, support group at least, and that is the Heart Transplant Support Group. And I asked the question very simply, can you share in the comments your biggest accomplishment? And hundreds of you came through. I'm blown away by the participation in this group typically, but I'm certainly blown away by this, and I'm very excited to be able to share these positive things here before you today. And so many of the things that we find in these Facebook groups are very helpful. Don't get me wrong, they certainly are, but a lot of times it's someone who's struggling, having a difficult time, and they're asking questions and advice, and of course we chip in and give that, but it's also great to be able to just share the wonderful things about transplant, because that really goes a long way to encourage us, and those positive mindsets can really give us the longest, happiest life possible when we're able to do that. But without any further ado, let's jump over to that post right now in the Heart Transplant Support Group and begin sharing some of your biggest accomplishments. So we take it from the top here. Laverne Clark said, I was able to run the 50 meter and a long jump. That was something she said she could not do even in her childhood. And I've been there, done that. I was a congenital patient myself, and I wasn't ever able to do anything in my childhood that I'm able to do now. And so like you, I'm very excited and thankful that you have accomplished these things. And I look forward to bigger things in your life. I know this is huge, and I'm tickled for you, but I know you're going to continue to do great things as well. So thank you for adding that, Laverne. We move on down the page a little bit farther. Presley Robertson says, I finished college at age 48. I taught 6th grade science for 16 years. That's impressive within itself. Thank you for your service. And I retired when COVID hit. When I got my new heart, I was 44. So if I'm doing the math right, am I figuring this out? You got your heart at 44, finished college at 48, and then taught 16 years. That's huge. Again, thank you for your service to our children. And yes, that is a huge accomplishment right there to be able to do that. When so many people are even unable to work or not able to make such accomplishment as that, that's big, Presley. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. We scroll on down the page to one of the old-time classics here. R. Kelly Wagner says, I was already in my 60s at time of transplant, and since I don't have any children, she says, I don't have any really big accomplishments, just accumulation of little ones. From walking around a tourist area for 6 miles, did I hear that? 6 miles, she says, to seeing the sights, attending conventions in locations that would have been inaccessible or maybe even too expensive to arrange accessibility, to going contra dancing, listen to this, almost every weekend. And I added to her comment, I came back real quick and said, sounds like to me you're fulfilling a kind of a bucket list. And that's exactly what she's doing. She adds a number of accomplishments even farther than that just show that R. Kelly is really working hard and doing the things that she always wanted to do in life. So the opportunities, that's what I always say, opportunities are the biggest parts and rewards that come along with post-transplant life. And Kelly, you are certainly finding those opportunities. So we move down the page a little bit. Aaron K. Kaleo, sorry if I mispronounce these names sometimes, says, I ran a full marathon on my 1-year anniversary this past February. Wow. I couldn't run a full marathon now if I tried. Well, I guess if I tried, I might, but I've never tried. And I'm almost 11 years post. So at 1-year anniversary, Aaron, you ran your first full marathon. That is extremely impressive. And I see a number of people coming below that. And basically the words that come up are like, wow, that's awesome. Thank you for that and such. So thank you for encouraging us. Then we come down to Leanne Hazard here. She says, getting my business degree, buying my dream car. I really do want to say the biggest, though, is that I made it through the transplant surgery and I'm doing awesome. Yes, that is the biggest. I'm thankful for the other accomplishments, and certainly that's impressive. I'm glad you got that car you always wanted and such, and that degree. But the biggest accomplishment for many of us, and you, I see, is that you have made it through this and you're continuing to go on. I like to call that keep on keeping on, or KOKO, keep on keeping on. And certainly, it sounds like, Leanne, you are certainly doing that. So thank you for sharing that. Jim Chirac says he's following this, and I know, Jim, you're going to be encouraged by these, and I'm thankful. I'd like to hear your story, though, if you come back in the comments later, but thank you for at least jumping in here and following after us. Sharon Hood said, I got to raise my 4 beautiful daughters, and I'm now a grandma to 5 beautiful humans now as well. Yeah, Sharon, that's the type of thing that I've been excited to do. I've been able to watch my children grow up already. We actually adopted 3 little girls and added to my family post-transplant, something I could have never done while I was sick, and I'm excited about that. So I know just where you're coming from, albeit I don't quite have the grandchildren yet, but those will come in time, I'm sure. So congratulations, Sharon. That's absolutely great. Thank you for sharing that. We go down the page a little bit farther. Carrie Alejandra says, I made this little person. Then she adds that she went in halvesies with her husband, but she says she is so grateful for the long list of accomplishments that others might deem mundane, but 26 years of just living, and this little guy are the cherry on top. So I'm going to see if I can kind of pop this picture up a little bit farther. I got to do 2 things to do it. So let's bring that up and then click right here. So looky there. What a beautiful young man she has there. And I'm thankful, Carrie, that you've had this opportunity. It's absolutely great to be able to do some things like that and have that accomplishment. And if you didn't really catch that, she, since transplant, I guess, has been able to have this little person, and that's great. So many of you need to take some encouragement from her, because a lot of times that can be difficult to go ahead and have a child after transplant, or to at least be able to raise one. So Carrie, thank you for sharing that and encouraging so many others. We go down the page, and of course others are encouraging her. Jeffrey Carty encourages her, Allie Gould and such. And then we come down to Dan Kobalaya. I'm sorry, I cannot say your name, Dan. Help me out with that sometime. But it says, I was able to establish and operate a baseball program called Challenger Baseball. It's a program for children and adults with special needs. I retired this past year with 32 years. That's impressive within itself. And I'm being considered for the Chapman Kent Sports Hall of Fame. You deserve it, it sounds like, for sure. It says, I've survived 35 years with my donated heart, which was an accomplishment within itself. Yes, it is. Thank God for that. 35 years. That's very impressive, Dan. You're definitely knocking on the door with some of those record breakers. And I look forward to the day when you will break that record. Albeit, I'm also encouraging those that are ahead of you right now, keep on running. Make it hard for them to break it, but let's all run this race together. But congratulations on that. I do look forward to hearing the word that you were placed in the Sports Hall of Fame, because what you do for special needs people all around, certainly great. He goes on to add here that when he started the baseball program, it was just that, but he didn't know it would become an entire community. So again, thank you, Dan, for that. Huge accomplishments there, I know. We go on down the page a little bit farther. Andrew Jack Chappell says, easy, back to work after a month. Went to Cabo after 4 months and got to walk my daughter down the aisle for her wedding. Wow, that's great. Getting back to work that quickly is certainly an accomplishment. Not everybody's able to do that, but I'm glad that you have. And then that little part about walking your daughter down the aisle for a wedding, that's the one that touches me most. I was able to walk my daughter down the aisle about 1.5 years ago as well. And so I was very excited for that. I actually walked her down the aisle, then turned around and performed the ceremony. So that was impressive that I was able to do that. And that's something I never thought I would see. And of course, there were a lot of tears on that day, as I'm sure there were on your daughter's day as well. But congratulations on that, Andrew. Randy Shepard says, I've seen both my daughters get married. Again, I understand that. Coached countless baseball teams with my son that he's played on. Competed with 6 sprint triathlons. What? Competed in 6 sprint triathlons. Hiked up the Grand Canyon rim to rim. Wow. Now, that would be on my bucket list, Randy. I'm not even going to try to accomplish that yet, but hopefully one day that'll be in my cards as well, and I can go about and do that. But congratulations, Randy. I know you've changed the lives of countless of those baseball players, and now you're also impacting your own life by being able to accomplish such great things. So congratulations on that. Now, the next one here, Christopher, I'm not going to try to say your last name. My apologies. But I just got my transplant 6 days ago, and I managed to walk a 2 kilometer today. Every day I'm getting better. Congratulations on being a brand new, just baby clean transplant. Congratulations on that, Christopher. I'll be pulling and praying for you now that I have that in my mind, and I'm looking forward to the days when you're going to continue to increase those accomplishments. And that's the key, being able to walk quick, fast, in a hurry. Not really fast, but being able to get up and walk quickly after transplant is going to be the key to a long and healthy life. So congratulations on that, and congratulations on your courage to be able to do that already. It can be kind of a painful time and a difficult and a scary time, but you are doing it. As a matter of fact, Andrea Ogg steps in and says, yes, never stop moving. It makes a world difference. And Andrea's right. That certainly does make a huge difference in things. So congratulations, Christopher, on that. We move on down a little bit farther to Amanda Voice, I guess is your last name. I can't say that properly. I'm sorry. Says she graduated from college with honor in 2 different diploma programs. Wow, that's impressive. Worked consistently at a part-time job for years. Says she couldn't quite manage it after a few months and ended up quitting. But I met and married the love of my life. I'm celebrating my 10-year wedding anniversary this year. Congratulations on that. That's huge, that 10-year mark, especially when you talk about that 10-year mark coming after transplant. You know, when we are not necessarily given a certain amount of time to live, but you've been taking advantage of it, it sounds like. Said it's very important to me, and I was able to be here for my child, to care for my, be here to be the child, to care for my mom in her last days with cancer. Sorry to hear that, but glad you were there. And also to be able to care for my wonderful kitty cats, because there's nothing more important in the world than my people and my kitties. I can understand that. Congratulations, Amanda, on that. I'm thankful that you're able to be there for yourself and for others and be a wonderful caregiver. I'm sure that you were and constantly will be in the future. Archie D. Francisco, I think that's maybe the way you say that. I'm not sure. Apologize for that. Bucket list items like doing a zip line with my entire family from across the states at 9 months post, getting to enjoy our 2 daughters' weddings, getting to enjoy 2 granddaughters, entering our lives, and being able to help my husband to paint the entire house interior as well as updating, enjoying every moment of my bonus time. And that's what it is. It's bonus time. It's opportunities, and what wonderful things that you have been able to be there and be present for and participate in because of transplant. So this is why transplant is so important, folks. Even the ones we've gotten to so far, none of these things would have been possible had not it been for the gift of organ donation. So please let me encourage you to encourage others to continue to encourage them to be organ donors, because it does make a huge, huge difference in lives, and many lives such as these. So congratulations, Archie, on that. We move down the page a little bit farther. Rebecca Hayes Olford says, I raised $100,000, chaired the return of a military ball honoring Michigan men and women who attend America's military service academies, such as West Point, Annapolis, U.S. Air Force Academy. It was a black tie, 325 guest affair, television coverage, and national hero as a guest. I'm going to pull this picture up right here and see if we can share it on the screen. Again, I have to click a couple buttons to do that effectively, but yeah, there you go. Look at you. Look at you. What a huge accomplishment there. And thankfully, you were able to participate and help so many. I know that's huge, being able to be a part of that ball and raising all those funds for that. That's huge, and I'm thankful for that. So thank you for sharing that part of your life, Miss Rebecca. I'm glad for that. She adds in this a little bit farther down the page how much of a rewarding project it was, and it just felt great to be able to pull it off. And that being done 1.5 to 2 years post-transplant. So, wow, that's impressive too. She says they danced until the music stopped and all the businesses were over. So thank you for that. That's impressive, and thank you for all that you do. Moving on down the page a little bit. Dawn Levitt. Dawn is kind of an old-time friend of the program here. She's been around for a number of years, commenting and helping and assisting others in the comments and such as this. And here's what she said. She climbed several mountains with her husband, including Diamond Head in Hawaii. Wow, that would be impressive. That's an accomplishment. Be very impressive, I know, to climb it there in such a beautiful place, one of the most magical places on earth. So congratulations on you being able to do that and to do it along with your husband. Of course, I'll have to hit a couple buttons, but I want to share this photo as well. That one shared out without 2 button hits. So congratulations on that, Dawn. You look beautiful. Your husband there looks very excited, and I'm thankful that you were able to go about and do that. Thank you for sharing that it was wonderful to hear about that. David Knight says he walked 9.5 miles in Disneyland. You didn't have a lot of choice on that one, did you? But walked 9.5 miles in Disneyland, climbed the top of Thunderbird Mountain in Arizona, all before his 8-month post-transplant. Wow, that's impressive. Being able to even go to Disneyland and do all those things and then to climb the mountain, huge accomplishment there. And I'm thankful that you were able to do that, David. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing that here with us. And so we could be excited along with you and for you. Bonnie Mike Roner, I'm sorry if I say that wrong, but Bonnie Mike Roner says, in July, I will be attending the Transplant Games in Birmingham 2024. Yes, you will. I'm thankful for that. I live about an hour away from Birmingham, so I plan to be there at the games and helping out, volunteering with that. I'm excited. I hope I get to meet all of you that come, but especially you, Bonnie. Come looking for me. I'd love to meet you and maybe take a few pictures with you in that. We can post on our Facebooks or something like that. But said she'll be attending, and she said she will be competing in some kind of low-key events, such as doing the 5K walk, but she cannot wait. And I'm thrilled about that, Bonnie. I look forward to seeing you there, and I hope that you do have a great trip as you head our way in July. Holly Draper says there are just too many to name them all. She did a 5K only 2 weeks after transplant and 1 per month for the first year. Wow, that is impressive in itself. She says she went back to teaching 3 months and 3 days after transplant. Again, thank you for serving our children like that. And Abels adds that she travels a lot and started a YouTube channel documenting all the things that were unknowns while waiting. So met so many people and have had so many experiences. Wouldn't have it if I hadn't to needed or gotten a transplant. I learned how strong and determined I can be when everything is stacked against me. And Holly, that is right. That's the truth about so many of us. We never know how strong we can be until we have to be that way. And you really put up a fight. You sure did. I remember your whole journey back from years ago, and I'm thankful for that. And I've been watching those YouTube videos too. I just some of the things I'm dreaming of at this point, with all the small children and all. But when I get a little bit older and get some of these children grown up, I hope I can travel like you are. That's been impressive. You've been to some wonderful places, and thank you so much for sharing that. I'll try to link her YouTube channel below in the comments, a pinned comment a little bit later if you all like to check that out. But thank you, Holly, for sharing that, and thank you for being able to do such things as that. A lot of people are telling this about or asking about a YouTube channel, and we'll be sure. There it is. She's got that right there, but I'll put it in the link so you can just click it. Chris Heff said that they were able to climb the 178 stairs at the Tybee Island Lighthouse. Yes, that is impressive. I know about that place. My sister lives, I guess, about 45 minutes from Tybee Island. Her and her daughter and family go down there a lot, and they've enjoyed that a few times. But I promise you, that's a huge accomplishment. Those 178 stairs, they can break a person down, but you were able to do it, so congratulations on that. Going a little bit farther than this. Oh, I didn't show the picture though. Here is the Tybee Island Lighthouse. I guess can you see that good enough right there? And so they show that. And then we move down here. Here we go. And here is photos of the family. Look at that. Wow, that was impressive to be able to climb up there. Wow, beautiful place too. Again, Tybee Island is just a beautiful place. Thank you, Chris, for sharing that with us. We move on to Susan Crosby. She says, I'm 4 months, and that's a big accomplishment within itself. Oops, I didn't click this back. There we go. Crosby says, I'm 4 months, and yes, that is a big accomplishment within itself. Each of those milestones, whether it be a week, a month, a year, whatever, huge accomplishments, and I'll be cheering you on as you go farther with this in the future. Moving down to Gregory Friedman, I think it says, returning to acting, bowling, golfing, and I'm not at the same level I was with the sports, but it is back to normal. Okay. So great. That's awesome, Gregory. And it sounds like you're really getting involved in a lot of things. I love to see some of your acting skills one day. If you can share those, maybe up here on Facebook Live or YouTube or something like that. But Gregory, congratulations. Huge accomplishments even there. Aaron Day said, we're returning to medical school. It will be 1 year post on 4/18. Wow. Okay. So here we are. What are we? April. Are we 4 already? Yeah, we're 4 now. So 4/18 will be 1 year post. So you're already back in medical school even before your 1 year transplant anniversary. Congratulations on that. And I know you're going to do great things in the medical field. So I look forward to hearing more about that a little bit later. We move down a little bit farther here. Chris Calvert says, or Charis, I'm sorry, I can't say that. I always look at it real quick and think, Chris, that's not it. Charis Calvert says, I beat stage 3 cancer 5 years after my transplant. Okay, so here we got some comparative pictures. Let me see if I can get those to pull up here. Go that way and this way. Yeah. Oh, wow. Transformation right there for sure. Congratulations on that. I know that was extremely difficult. And of course, things will always be a little bit tough, but I'm thankful that you're able to push through and to accomplish the things you had. Going on to say, I had the privilege of becoming a mother in 2009, and now my son is 15 in his early years of photo quality. Oh, yeah, early 2000s photo quality. I see what you're talking about. So let me pull that picture up too. There we go. Oh, wow, so precious. Man, the itty bitties. I love the babies. I've got 3 little ones myself here, and so I'm thrilled about that. I have 5 children altogether, but 3 recently. I'm super impressed with that. And again, that comes as a huge encouragement to others who have gone through the transplant process into birthing and or rearing up children. Something you need to talk over your team and can be challenging, but great to see you able to accomplish that. All right, moving on here, Cheryl Whitman. It's a longer one here. It says, my journey started May the 11th, 2022. I was filled with flu and had trouble breathing, very lethargic. I ended up in the hospital and was told that I was in heart failure. The doctors mentioned the possibility of transplant early on. In that July, I ended up getting a pacemaker defibrillator, went through the evaluation, testing in November, got listed in mid-December, and at the end of January, ended up with an IV connected to Milrinone 24/7. I know all about that. It sounds exactly like my story, pretty much. My mom passed away unexpectedly on May the 20th, 2023. I'm sorry to hear that. I ended up in the hospital June the 1st and was hooked up to ECMO on my right side and pillar on the left. Wow, that's a double whammy, but I'm glad they figured that out. At first, the heart didn't work out, which was good because they had to find an arterial bleed, which they did. A week later, July the 4th, 2023, I received my new heart, and I was in the hospital for 3 more months. I had a big crater in my sternum, and that was finally healed and closed last month. I ended up with an infection in my sternum and the incision and 2 more procedures. I had an incident where I was hallucinating really bad and not making sense with some respiratory problems. I was weak as a newborn baby, and I could not do anything for myself. I was in pain a lot. September 28th, I was diagnosed and discharged, and sent to rehab. After 2 weeks, I was finally able to get up from the bed consistently and could use the bathroom on my own with a riser. I left rehab on October 13th, and I had to stay in a hotel until they said I could go home, which was 5.5, 6 hours away. I understand that as well. October 24th, I had a couple more hospital stays over Thanksgiving and the full week in December. Since that, I have managed to stay out of the hospital. There's the accomplishment I'm looking for. I was able to stay out of the hospital, so I just go for my monthly appointments. Today is 9 months, and I still use a walker, but I can't climb stairs on my own, but I have come a long way. My biggest accomplishment is that I'm still here and still in pretty good spirits. Well, it sounds like it, and boy, Miss Cheryl, you have been through it. There's no doubt about it, but I'm excited that you've gone as far as you have, and I know your journey is just going to continue, going to have years and years of good health. And the thing about it is, isn't it the case, everybody could agree here, isn't it the case that when you come so far, you're even more grateful and thankful for your accomplishments? And I know that you are already and will be as time goes on. So thank you for sharing that. Nikki Schultz says, I run now and have never been able to do that prior to transplant. I also recover really, really quickly too, which is such a blessing. Yeah, I can understand that. I'm not a runner, but the recovery time when you take off and run or walk real fast or whatever, the recovery time, the cool down time I discussed on a program recently because of that severed, I just lost it. Vagal nerve is a lot different, and the fact that you're able to recover quickly, that's awesome. So congratulations, Nikki, on that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Amy Devolder says, I met and married the love of my life. I've been married for over 6 years now, and I love that I got to experience this part of life. I was transplanted at age 32. So congratulations on that, Amy. That's great, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to you not telling me about the 6th year, but the 26th year, because I know that will be coming pretty soon. So thank you so much for sharing that. We moved down in page a little bit more. Sierra Worthlers, I guess. I'm sorry about that. My transplant was in July of 2019. Since transplant, I went back to school for nursing. Yay for that. You're my hero already. For nursing, and completed it. I also had a beautiful, healthy baby boy on July of 2021. There's another one of those stories. Again, you need to check with your team. You definitely need some really close care, but we got another one here who's actually had a child post-transplant. So congratulations on that. Again, thank you for being a nurse and for working in the field. Nurses are absolutely my heroes, and I'm excited that you're able to do that, Miss Sierra. Moving on a little bit farther, Michael Twitchwell, hear about him a lot here in the group. He says, I climbed to the top of a 10,000-foot mountain. Wow. He says, I also bought an e-bike last May, and I put over 3,300 miles on it so far. I walked in the Donor Dash last year and came in 11th in my age group. Man, that's awesome. 10,000-foot mountain. I was able to accomplish something similar to that. Not really. I climbed like a 500-foot hill a few weeks ago, and that's just something I'd always wanted to do, and I just climbed right on up. So I can imagine the challenge of doing what you did, but thank you, Michael, for sharing that with us, and I pray that you'll keep on going. Gino Huang, I think it says, does a lot of camping. I love camping myself. It's something me and my son are trying to get into more and more, so thankfully you're able to do that. Denise Albridge, maybe that's right. Anyway, said, I got a bicycle for the first time in 35 years. I told her to just pedal on. That's what she needs to do. So thank you for sharing that. I'm excited for you. I know that gives you something to do, and if it gets you out in nature, that's the biggest part for me. I love to be outdoors, and of course, getting a bicycle and being able to do that, that's huge. So congratulations. Marianne Gaffney says, I rode in a helicopter over the Grand Canyon and zip lined in Alaska. More adventures to follow. I love that. I absolutely love that. And she gives us a YouTube link here, I think, where we can go and look at some things along that lines with her. So I'm going to go look at that here in just a few minutes. But thankfully, you're able to do that. That's huge. Many of us have ridden in helicopters as well, but not over the Grand Canyon, more on the lines of the hospital. But thankful for you to be able to do that in that. Deborah Orr, okay, a different person here says, I started a nonprofit. Deborah Orler, I can't my mouth to work right. Deborah, we'll call you Deborah, says, I started a nonprofit and win the Jefferson Award. So congratulations on that. And thank you for your nonprofit. Again, I will look into that in a moment and see more along the lines of what that's about. Jackie Morton says, my biggest accomplishment is taking care of my daughter. I was diagnosed with prepartum cardiomyopathy that comes along with pregnancy is what we're trying to say. Since my daughter was born, I haven't been able to take care of her fully by myself. My EF is 15% for 4 months. I have no energy to do anything. But November 23rd, 2022, I finally was able to become a mother I always wanted to be. And that's a huge one there. I get some of that because I was sick for so many years when my children were young. My daughter, for example, was 8. My son was 4 when I fell ill. And what that meant was that my daughter remembers me playing and running in the yard and doing all the things that we would want to do. And then she saw me get sick. And then for almost a decade, really, I couldn't do those things. I couldn't play with my children. I couldn't do that. Now, my son was young enough. He just didn't remember, but very excited when I came out of transplant. I was able to get out and run in the yard and shoot basketball and the things that we're able to do now. So yeah, I know what it's like to be a mother or father for the first time and to be able to accomplish those things. So Jackie, thank you for sharing that with us. Nikki tells us, she says, I was riding Ragabri 7 years post-transplant. It's a 500-mile bike ride across Iowa held every year in 2023. This was their 50th. Pitching a tent every night, riding all day, repeat for 7 days straight. It was incredible. So we got a picture here, so take me a minute. Let's pull it up. Try to get the zoom on it properly here. So we can get in. Wow, wow, wow. You go, girl. That's impressive. And I couldn't have imagined riding that long, but you're able to do it. And that's huge. That's just huge post-transplant. So thank you so much for sharing that experience with us. And hey, you keep on doing things like that. I'm impressed, and I'm going to continue to follow your story. That's absolutely great. That's just incredible, Nikki. Thank you for that. Nancy Burke says, 8-year post-transplant, I gave birth to my son, who is now 27. He was born in 1997. When he was little, let me get this right. He was born in 1997 when little was known about the outcomes of pregnancy. There we have another one right here. We are so happy and blessed. He was retransplanted in 2020. Okay, so great. Excellent story right there. 8 years post-transplant, giving birth to a son. So thank you for sharing that. That's absolutely great. And then you said you've had 2 transplants. So one was in 97, one in 2020. So Nancy, you're a warrior for sure. And I'll be cheering for you as the days go on and looking forward to even more anniversaries coming up for you. Josh Marcia says, I got married, had 2 boys, got scuba certified. I'm now 7 years out. Now we vacation somewhere new every year, and never did that before transplant either. Yeah, I understand that. Getting to go on vacation and actually enjoy it with your family. That's a huge thing, and I'm thankful for that you're able to do that, Josh. And yes, that scuba diving is a big deal too, post-transplant, so thankful for that. Of course, getting married and 2 boys, that's nothing to sneeze at, right? That's a huge deal as well. Thank you for sharing that, Josh. Dana Matthews Foley says, I was transplanted during COVID. That was difficult. Okay, that was difficult. She and others have experienced it as well. That was a hard time to go through this. But says, I missed any and all rehab because of the centers being closed during the pandemic. I survived 2 COVID episodes without ever having one vaccine. Went to Italy, went to Greece, saw my granddaughter get married, able to attend my grandson's college graduation and attend my son's retirement from the U.S. Air Force. Thank you for your service to your son. Special Forces after 30 years of service, and after 20 years in a very toxic, unhealthy marriage, I divorced. I bought my own home, moved 1,700 miles away to my hometown where I'm happier than I've ever been in many, many years. Wow, you have been through a lot right there, ups and downs, but you've come through it all. That's the exciting thing about it. So I'm glad that you're happy, and I'm glad you're so happy, probably happier than you've been in, as you said, many, many years. So thank you, Dana, for sharing that with us all. Lucy Cromwell Crosland says, I got married to the most wonderful man in the world. How could that be? My wife is married to the most wonderful man in the world, but maybe yours is good. I got married to the most wonderful wife in the world, been married 10 years, and I'm so grateful that I got the gift and a second chance at life. More time gave me more opportunity to meet my husband and create life full of happiness together. Yes, so many you've already heard already. So many have gotten married, had children, had grandchildren. That's just huge. That's huge in our world to be able to accomplish that. So Lucy, thank you for sharing that with us. Ryan tells us 28 years post-heart transplant, got married, raising 2 boys, and had worked for 20 plus years. All huge accomplishments. First of all, 28 years post-transplant, that's impressive. That puts you again in that top few percent of people. Congratulations on that. And then getting married, raising boys, all those things are great. And even working 20 years is a plus there. So Ryan, thank you for sharing that. Don Connerly says, I was 42 when I received my transplant, but my donor was 17. I never finished college when I was younger, and my donor never had the opportunity to go. So the 2 of us went to college and graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in the class of '08. Thank you, Don. That's great. And yes, you getting that opportunity, giving your donor that opportunity he never had, that's just touching. And that is such a huge way, I know, to give tribute to your donor. I know your donor's family. I don't know if do you know them or not? I'd like to hear about that. But I know if they do know of what you've done, they're definitely happy and excited for you both. Thank you for sharing that. Sebastian tells us he climbed Mount Elbert in Colorado, 14,400 feet. He laid a flower at the peak to honor his anonymous donor. Wow. Now, there's another way to honor a donor. That's tremendous, and I'm thankful. We got to pull the picture up, so give me a second, okay? Got to get this. Oh, that's good. We can see it like that. So there he is at the very top, laying the flower, and what you got that in? Some kind of a Trying to see that, a wooden thing, but beautiful, beautiful place. Man, that's impressive that you're able to do that. I'm thankful for that. And so thank you for sharing that with us, Sebastian. That's just wow. That's all I can say. Banana House Davis said, I completed my associate's degree in 2018, bachelor's degree in 2020, a degree in healthcare 2 years apart, 3 years after transplant in 2015. Vanetta, every time I see you comment on any of this stuff, girl, you impress me so much. And I'm thankful that you were able to do that. It's big. 2 degrees in what? 2 degrees in 2 years? Sounds like finished up. I mean, but yeah, and impressive. All since 2015 heart transplant. So that's great. Thank you for sharing that. Wayne Anan or Ann. Anyway, Wayne says, winning the People's Triathlon Series, aqua bike, swim and cycle, over 4 races. The Banana Boat New Zealand Ocean Swim Series, mid swim, 1 to 2.6 kilometers, over 8 races during the 2023-24 summer, New Zealand, 6.5 years post-transplant. And get this. Nah, you ain't. You got to be kidding me, Wayne. 68 years old. All right, that's it. Pack it up. Let's all go home. If you're not doing what Wayne is doing, you ain't doing nothing, okay? I'll just say it. Yeah, we're all doing great things, but that's very, very impressive. I couldn't even imagine doing any of that stuff, let alone all that stuff. So thank you so much for sharing that. You see, that again, that's what transplant can do for people. It not only gives us the motivation, but the opportunity to be able to do great things. And Wayne, you've done that, and you are an inspiration to so many of us as well. Michael Marion says, working full-time at age 75. Wow, that's impressive. You just keep on keeping on, don't you? You're the Energizer Bunny's brother. What is that? I'm thankful for that. Corel Lacey says that she was, well, she doesn't say anything. She just shows it right here. She finished a 50, what? Let me get this picture pulled up. Hold up. 50-kilometer swim? You got to be kidding me, Lacey. That is impressive. Says she finished it and is gone nuts. Number 235. No, I wish I would have been there to see that. That's something else, girl. You keep on keeping on. How about that? That's impressive. Thank you for sharing that. On to the next one here. Michelle Wiley Callahan says, I play in the form of my granddaughter who was born 3 months after my transplant, hiking the North Georgia mountains with my husband. I speak at high schools in the Jacksonville area who are getting their driver's license about the importance of becoming an organ donor. And I visit patients who are waiting on heart transplant at Mayo to encourage them that life does get better. Wow. Huge things, being able to roll on the floor and play with a granddaughter. I understand that. Again, I get to play with my children because of organ transplant. And then all the work that you're doing to help to motivate others to become organ donors is huge. You are saving lives by doing that. So thank you for what you are doing in that. Of course, others chip in and say they love it and they're amazed at what she's able to do and thankful for her kindness. Then we come to Allison Coughlin. Says, I am almost 1 year and 6 months, I guess, post-transplant my husband, and I have a bucket list of things to do. So far, we've gone to London, visited the 40-30 NBL stadiums, 14 of the 30, I'll get that right, NBL stadiums, gone to the Broadway shows, flown to visit the friends in Texas, and taken walks on the beach. I walk 5 miles a day. I've been able to watch my sons get older. I've wrote a piece about my transplant in the Huff Post. That's impressive that I'm thankful they let you do that and that you got that opportunity. I was given extra time to be with my dad before he died last month, and there's just so much more living to do. Absolutely, Allison, thank you for sharing that and what wonderful things you are able to do. Opportunity, that's my word. Opportunity, that's what you're taking advantage of. Wendy Wolf says, I'm able to run and play with my grandchildren. Again, been there doing that right now. Thankful for that. Not grandchildren, but children, but thankful for that. Kim Watts says, I finished my home remodel, staged my home, and my agent sold it. I received so much money that I retired, and now I'm a caretaker for my parents. That's impressive, Kim. That's a lot of work to do, a lot of work to put in. And obviously you do great work. Your house sold that quickly and you made money off of it. That's what matters in life, right? So thankful for that. And Kim, Transplant again brought you that opportunity and I'm sure the energy to do that. So thank you for sharing that with us. Jeff Clardy says, I ran a 5K when I was 47 years old, 6 months after transplant. In 43 minutes? You kidding me? That's man, you put the scat in the cat, didn't you? I was able to use that event with another transplant I was able to use that event with another transplant recipient to show what you can accomplish with a new heart. She was so scared that she would not be able to ever run and play again. Nurses said that was the first time they had seen her smile since transplant. She was 11 years old at the time. That's a touching story, Jeffrey. Thank you for sharing that. And yes, you're impacting so many. And I know you've changed her life. You changed her life forever by giving her the courage and the strength and being able to know that she can accomplish the same. And I look forward to hearing some of her stories later as well. Michael Cruz, I'm sorry, I messed that up. Michael says, staying alive. God bless him. Well, thank you for that. And yes, you are more than staying alive. I follow your page, and you more than stay alive. You stay busy, very, very busy, and doing your thing. So thank you for that. Danella Rio says, I got my GED at 44 years. Wow, look at you putting in the effort and putting in the time. Congratulations on that. And again, organ donation allowed you the time and opportunity to do that. So thank you for that. Stephen Cutler says, I've lived for 21 years. That's big. That's huge there. And you're raising the bar for all of us as well. I'm 11, so I'm going to try to catch you, but you keep running. Renee Gillen said, being on TV to tell my story in all the newspapers. Thank you for that. I'm sure that your appearance on TV made a huge impact on others, and that's what it takes to continue to raise awareness for organ donation so others coming behind you can get the wonderful gift that they need. Richard Mayberry says, I'm still waiting patiently for my donor. So let's stop for a minute. Richard Mayberry, hear that name? Richard Mayberry is waiting patiently for a donor. So let's just stop and pray for him today and make sure that donor comes in time. I would definitely appreciate it. I know Richard would as well. So I'm cheering you on, okay, and I will be praying for you, Richard. Thank you for sharing that with us. Teresa Dennis Cook said, I traveled from coast to coast, taking my niece to see her cousins and grandmother, on to meet their half-brother I'd never met before. I also traveled solo from Georgia to Wyoming to see my mom on several occasions, driving. That's impressive right there. In 2023, I was at a walk her home to the arms of Jesus. I'm sorry about that. And seeing great grands being born, attended weddings, younger family members. I've been very blessed. You know, some of these things that are so exciting that we get excited about, the grandbabies, other great, but also just being there for your family. And in this case, for your mom. That's good. I'm glad that you were given an opportunity. So thank you for sharing that, Teresa Cook, as well. Charlotte Horthor. I can't say that. Let's just say Charlotte. My apologies. I lived 29 years, became a nurse after transplant. I married again after losing my husband, who gave 7 organs to someone and helped me. And gave 7 organs, someone helped me. So yeah, returning the favor kind of thing. Been around America from England, attended 7 transplant games and attended family weddings. Are you coming to Birmingham? That's the question though. Are you going to be able to be in Birmingham? I look forward to meeting you if you are. So come and see me. If you're there, I will be there myself. But 29 years post-transplant, that's huge. And I'm thankful for your husband. Sorry for the loss, but thankful for the gift that he gave as well. Now, here's Andrea Ogg. She comes back up. She commented below some others earlier. Here's a little bit more about her story. Said, I was born with left ventricular non-compaction cardiomyopathy, which caused my heart to form an incorrectable incorrectly. I can't read, Andrea. You know that. It didn't work right. Her heart didn't work right. Okay. I was never able to do anything athletic before my transplant at age 52. My 2 biggest accomplishments since are this. At age 57, I became a runner who chose to honor my donor for my 5th heart anniversary by running the world's highest elevation half marathon. The race began at 11,000 feet, the elevation of the Rocky Mountains, and finished number 37 in my age group. I also climbed and hiked over 6 miles, over 2,500 feet in elevation in the mountains and jungles of Uganda to come face to face with the critically endangered mountain gorillas. What? Are you trying to one-up all of us because you just did that? That would be amazing. Thank you for sharing that. To get in touch and coming face-to-face with mountain gorillas. I spent 90 minutes with a beautiful Kwate family, Kwate, I can't say that, family, observing them in the wide open wonder. And of course, she shares a video here. You can just see some of the moves she's got, right? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Got that strut going too. Thank you so much for that. I've actually watched this video a number of times. I'll encourage you to go look for this post and pull up the video and watch it. Well, it's very inspiring. But thank you, Andrea, for sharing that. Jay Waddle says, when I become more self-sufficient so that others do not have to wait on me, things like getting my own meals, washing dishes, being able to shower, driving a car to my own apartment. Yeah, there we go. And there were things that I've taken for granted in the past. And yeah, that's the story of a lot of us. So we become so dependent on others. To become independent is huge. So Jay, keep on keeping on, my friend. You're going to continue to do great things, and I'm thankful for that. Lisa Colin says, Colin says, I ran a 5K 6 months and 8 months post-transplant. So yeah, two of those then? Two of them? One at 6 and one at 8 months? That's outstanding and excellent. Thankful you were able to do that. Howard Beeson, he's commented on several things here lately. So far, a 50-mile bike ride. I would like to ride 100. That's the next step in riding my age at 71. I've got a good friend who rides bikes, and that's what he rides all the time. But every year on the birthdays, him and some of his friends, they always ride their birthdays, and he's getting on up there now, so that's getting a little bit more challenging. But that's excellent, Howard. Keep on doing that, and thankful that you've done so well so far. Blaney Harris says, I am 5 years post-transplant. I have got to walk my daughter down the aisle at her wedding. Again, I understand that. That's great. I'm enjoying my beautiful 1-year-old granddaughter as well. So very impressive there. I'm glad that you got to experience that. Just keep on keeping on, as I've already told so many others. Darcy Eleanor, I'm sorry if I can't say that, to be able to walk a mile in under 15 minutes. That's impressive. It is. With those miles that we walk, sometimes post-transplant, I always brag, I don't brag, but I do tell a lot that after my transplant, I was able to walk 3 or 4 miles within a week. That was true, but don't think that was real fast. Oh, that was so slow. Probably 3 or 4 miles in 3 or 4 hours is the way it worked out. But I did it, and you're doing it and walking under 15 minutes. That's great. That's really good timing, actually, when you get down to it. Brian Sturham says, let me just pull this up so I can see it better. I remember looking at this the other day. Let me get where I can zoom in. Y'all can see this along with me. Says, on my whole journey, I had been setting goals. I really didn't think about getting back in the lake would ever come true. Originally, they said it never would, but things do change. And you look at this now. He has a life vest. I'm so impressed by this. He has a life vest. You can see him in it right here. Of course, he's skiing. But if you look right here, look at that. I don't think there's anything better than that right there. I love that life vest. And I don't know where you got it, but I wish you'd let me know. That would be great for some of my fishing trips and stuff in the future. So, Brian, thank you so much for sharing that. Bob Giovanni says, I have not spent another night in the hospital since transplant 11 and a half years ago. I traveled the U.S. I've been to Europe 3 times since transplant, volunteer locally in Bark Park daily, and best of all, I see clearly that my purpose is to help the less fortunate, and we are the blessed. Yes, we are blessed. And Bob, thank you. Thank you for what you do to help others and being able to travel and do the things you have. And the big one right there that caught my attention, not being in the hospital since transplant, that's big. I'm thankful for that. I think I'm right around there. I've been to the emergency room a time or two, but never been admitted. So, yeah, glad for that huge accomplishment. Are we at the end? We are at the end. Whew, it's a lot of these, aren't there? I can't even get this one in the center. I've been trying to center them all, if you hadn't noticed that. Maybe I can hold it up at the center. Neely, I don't want to say this wrong. Neely says, I started running 5Ks. I got married. I adopted 2 kids. I've adopted 3. I know what you're doing there, and thank you for that. Could run and chase them on the beach 3 months after my second transplant. What a huge accomplishment. 2 transplants and still able to do this. Could run and chase them on the beach. 3 months after my second transplant, I graduated from nursing school, got my BNS, working to become a nationally certified school nurse, and so on. I was 12 I was 12 my first transplant, 28 with my second transplant, will be 45 in a few weeks. Neely, what an accomplishment. All those things. What huge accomplishments right there. And thank you for adopting those children. I know what that is. Again, I've adopted 3 little girls, and that's huge. And I'm thankful that you were able to do that and that you're giving back, not just to the transplant community, but to the community in general, particularly some of these children that are, they just wouldn't have a life. They wouldn't have a good life they do now without you. So as you can see, as I promised you in the beginning, that was a ton, right? I took this little bitty question right here on the screen, and with all that, we got that ton of feedback. And the thing is, I sat down this morning and determined, at least this morning, I would do this video. When I sat down, I thought to myself, Jim, I don't know if you got enough time today to do this. And it's been a long one. My throat's sore. I'm really tired right now after doing all that. I may go take a nap after this video. But I'm thankful that so many of you shared your stories. And what I noticed even this morning, some of those comments were added today, so that's added this morning. So I know there'll be going to be more pouring in that I didn't get to in the video. If I can keep up with it, I'll try to come back to some of those in the future. But thank you so much. And I would love this question back on the screen right here. Instead of putting your comments over in the Heart Transplant Support group, put them underneath this video, please. Some of you that I mentioned, if you don't mind, take a moment or two, copy and paste or retype your story underneath this video, because I would love to have some of that information kind of embedded along with this video and be able to share your stories in other ways. And let me add this to this. Let me add this. There we go. If you would like to tell your story in more detail, some of you had tremendously inspiring accomplishments already, but if you would like to tell your story in more detail, I wish that you would. Please reach out to me. Send me a private message. Send me over a text. I'll put my number on the screen right here and get with me. I would love to do that. I've got an entire series called My Story, My Words, which is where you tell your story to me in your own words, and we kind of go through the process. And I would love for you to be a part of that in the future as we go through and continue to inspire others, because all of these things we read today, so inspiring. Again, so many huge accomplishments, so many big things have happened because of organ donation. So if you're not already a registered organ donor, if you're watching this and you're not a part of the transplant world now, but if you're willing to become one, please go over and register, and then please let your family know your decision so that your wishes can be fulfilled should the time come and the need arise. Again, thank you so much for joining me. Can't hardly talk anymore. My voice is gone. But until next time, please stay stronger, my friends.